The Canada Summer Games continue to roll on, and we have more conversations with athletes competing to take home the medal. You won't want to miss it. Let's get started.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smythe and Nathan Clement.
Welcome in to Parasport Nation. I'm your host, Alex Smythe, and joining us for a second consecutive time is Kelly McDonald, filling in that co-host chair. And Kelly, I gotta say, it looks pretty good on you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Well, as I said to you yesterday, I always want to get chatting sports, always have fun. But these conversations, Alex, that you're rolling out here in a little while, some amazing stuff with some very interesting themes and achievements. So ready when you are.
Yeah, well, before we get to the interviews from the Canada Summer Games, there was an interesting news story that came across my desk, across the wire, so to speak. This has to do with the LA 28 Games, as they are looking to sell, for the first time in a long time, naming rights to the venues during the games. So some deals are already in place, including the Honda maintaining their naming rights over the arena in Anaheim where the Ducks play. It's already named Honda. They're keeping that. Comcast has secured the rights for a temporary squash arena, and in total 19 venues are up for naming rights grabs during these games that will host a variety of the different sports. But three venues are not up for naming rights, including the Rose Bowl, the LA Coliseum, and Dodger Stadium. Three of the most iconic venues in the LA region, so that is no surprise. But those in charge say that this could generate hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue for the LA Games, because part of this is the fact that they are managing these games privately, not a lot of public funding going into it, so they're trying to generate money this way. Kelly, your thoughts on selling naming rights for Olympic and Paralympic stadiums?
Particularly Olympic and Paralympic stadiums, especially in places where they're building stuff, like we talked yesterday in Newfoundland. Spaces were specific, and somebody's got to pay for it. And then you always get the conversations out there during, post. Well, how come I'm paying for it? I could care less. If you're not interested in that kind of thing, in games being there, and you don't care about what it brings in the way of the athletes, what it does for them, and your environment, it's just not your thing, and how many tourists come and check it out, or fans. Okay. So what a way to offset it by saying, all right, well, let's generate money from the sponsors who want to get their word out there, what they are, who they are, and puff out their chest because they're supporting these people who are not just paid Major League Baseball players or hockey players. These are the people next to you, the people down the street from your town that spend many hours prepping themselves, training to do this, to represent their country, and they're just Joe Average, and they work really hard to achieve. They need that support. They need that help. The games need them, because we need these games, and we need as many people participating and having a reason to show up, a country to represent their country, and country pride. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also just makes sense, like, just for a cohesiveness, especially when you look at like the Honda arena in Anaheim. It's like, it's already named Honda. Like, fine, keeping that in rights. Like, we had this in London when it was the Bird's Nest instead of like the O2 Arena. There was a bit of that confusion. Is this a new venue? No, it's just we don't have the name on it during the games. I get it from that perspective. I think, though, if you're a sponsor and you have, like, you know, the Crypto.com arena or something like that, and then someone else comes and slaps their name on it for a few weeks for the competition, I could see you getting a bit upset. But I think all this will kind of work itself out. I think it's going to be fine. It's just that new era of licensing, of branding, and marketing when it comes to the Olympic and Paralympic Games. It's a brave new world, and this is just kind of the first step in that direction. That said, let's focus in on the Canada Summer Games. They're still taking place. Competitions are happening. Athletes are scoring medals and big wins. And we have a slew of athletes that are here to chat with you at home. I had a chance to catch up with them a couple days ago during the competitions in the heat of battle. So without further ado, let's get started with our first athlete, a shot put and discus athlete, Christel Robichaud, representing Team New Brunswick. Christel, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
So this is your fourth Canada Games, and I just want you to kind of take us through what's the feeling like being back at the Canada Games. This is not something new to you, but being in St. John's, every single iteration is a different kind of feeling, different vibe. So how are you feeling at these games?
Well, it's my first time in St. John's ever. So it's new and there's a few distractions. Like the environment is familiar. It's not as nerve-wracking as my first games in 2013. And I'm glad to be here, even though it's my last games. So it's bittersweet.
Absolutely. So you're also, apart from being a veteran on the team, you've also been named team captain. Can you tell us a bit about what that role entails and what is your kind of approach to being a team captain?
It's to basically like answer questions from athletes and be there for them if they feel nervous or if they need like some advice or I'm a little bit nervous about the role, I guess I would say.
Well, and I'm sure that's a completely normal feeling, because for most of the athletes, I'm sure on your team and the other teams as well, like this is probably one of the only opportunities that you're meeting a lot of these different athletes from your home province, and for yourself and with Team New Brunswick, I'm sure this. For many athletes, this is the first and only time you're actually going to see some of your teammates. So having that chance to kind of connect during these games, during these competitions, has to be exciting to see kind of just the quality of the team that New Brunswick has put forward.
Yeah, I was out on the first day of competition yesterday to see everyone. It was really, really cold, but they performed quite well, and it was really nice to see.
No, that's fantastic. Let's get into your competition now. You are competing in discus and in shot put. How do you kind of differentiate your training, your preparation when it comes to those two throwing sports? Because I know you've also done javelin in the past. Like there's a lot of similarities, but there's also differences in the technique and the preparation, I'm sure.
Well, so I throw with both hands, which is different from like most throwers. And so usually I practice with my right hand on one day, or like half of the practice will be with my right hand. And then I practice my left hand with usually on the same day. And lately we've only been practicing with my left hand because, to avoid confusion also. But other than that, we haven't necessarily ramped up practices. We've just been doing kind of the same thing, just to making sure that I know what I'm doing.
Well, and I'm sure probably from your coaching and your teams, it's that if you can focus in, as you mentioned, like you used to do both hands, and which is quite unique. Usually it's a focus on one over the other. So from what I hear, as you say, it's like you kind of had that anxiety, that panic attack on there, that you have to think about so many different factors. So focusing on the one hand to throw with that one, you're kind of narrow the focus of what you have to take into account when you're kind of preparing for a throw then.
Yeah. I think my anxiety attack was just I'm not used to, at home at least, I'm not used to be the one who sets up the chair, angles it. And for some reason, even though I've done it, I've been to nationals many, many times. I just somehow was I don't know how to set up my chair at that moment. And there was also a coach there, not my coach, that sometimes makes me nervous. And so that did not help me. But other than that, the other days I was fine throwing at nationals, and I feel confident that I'll be fine today.
And talk about Canada Games. What goals do you have while you're competing? As you say, this is going to be your last game. So what goals do you have to leave your mark here at these final games for you?
Ideally, I'd like to have 2 gold medals. But in para, like we have a pointing system. So it's not like who throws the furthest. It's like we have something called the rise up points. So who throws the closest to the world record, I think. I'm not very sure how exactly it works. So I had a good practice 2 days ago. If I can get the same feeling I had at practice, I think I'll be happy with myself, even though I'm not like gold, as long as I'm on the podium, probably. I would also like to beat my personal best in both of the events. Because, well, one in discus, it would probably put me as like having the national record, and in shot put, I would beat my PB.
I mean, those are both lofty goals and definitely ones worth aiming for and throwing for. So I sincerely hope you're able to kind of fulfill all your goals and reach all your whether they're podium finishes or personal bests or Canadian records, because that would be phenomenal for you. Outside of the heat of the competition, you mentioned this is the first time in St. John's. Are there any things you're looking forward to? Any things you hope you have an opportunity to do to explore or experience St. John's away from the actual daily competition?
I'm gonna try. I wanted to go kayaking, like sea kayaking, but you need to have like some sort of course, to be able to go on your own. And if not, you have to be like in a tandem kayak, and it's just not my thing. So I'm not doing that part. But I'm hoping I can find like pond kayaking so I can go on my own. And then all the team captains were kind of asked like to throw out ideas of like what we could do as a group on Sunday, because we're not competing on Sunday. We're done. And so I've been asking like volunteers that are locals, basically, asking like, what is there to do that like is not as touristy? Like, I don't just want to do the touristy stuff. So they've said, things like definitely go to Kitty Vitty Village and the wharf, go to Signal Hill. It's nice at like sunrise, they said. They've also said, there's a pedestrian street, I think, or a pedestrian mall, they said. And then one volunteer was saying that at this time of year, the cod fishers go out on Sunday morning, and that sometimes if you go there and you ask them, they might take you out.
Hey, I mean, those would certainly be unique experiences. I've had the chance to go to Kitty Vitty. It's a lovely part of St. John's, its own village, but it's still like a 10-minute drive from downtown St. John's. So to me, it feels very much a part of the city. So it's a lovely city. It's a lovely opportunity to kind of explore a different part of the country. So I definitely hope you and your team get a chance to do that. I want to wrap things up on this because you're a veteran of games, like with some of the first time members of your team competing here in St. John's, like, have you given them any advice of like what to expect or how they should prepare for something like this? Because this can be a bit of an overwhelming competition. You know, it's a multi-sport competition. You're bringing athletes from all across Canada. This is, we were speaking with the CEO, this is the largest Canada Games that has ever been held with just the sheer volume. So what advice do you have for kind of the newbies to the Canada Games?
Do what you do at home, I would say, because this is not the time to try something new. Like my coach would say. Yeah, it's not the time to try something, and do what you do at home. Try to relax. And it's yes, you're here to perform, but you're not here to like have anxiety attacks just because you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Go out and explore, because that also can help you like relax and also help you perform if you're relaxed enough. Don't relax too much. But I'm just saying, like, you know, put on some music like I do. I put on some metal before my competition because it helps me relax, which is weird, but whatever. Or eat your favorite foods that won't make you sick. Other than that, I'm not very sure what else to say, really.
I mean, as a fellow metalhead, I appreciate it. I completely understand. It may seem weird for those who don't get the metal music, but I completely appreciate it, how it calms you down. So, Christel, hopefully you pop those headphones on, you get some metal blaring, you got a nice snack before you compete later.
Thank you.
And that was my conversation with Christel. Now let's keep the ball rolling with shot put and discus as we throw to another tape, this time with Rémi Ouellette. Rémi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So how are you feeling in St. John's right now? You recently just got there, but what are the vibes on the ground so far?
So far, the vibes are vibrant. Everybody's excited. Everybody's trading pins, just getting to really feel the experience and just making memories, but also performance is number one priority, so everybody's just dialing in for that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now for yourself, what does it mean to represent your home province of New Brunswick and be surrounded by fellow athletes also representing your home province?
It's an absolute honor. It's a privilege. I'm lucky enough that it's my second Canada Games, my fourth time representing this province in both my sporting careers. So I'm just basically this time around just enjoying it, being in the moment present, just not looking forward to the future, not wishing that I did something different in the past, just feeling every moment and just enjoying it,
You mentioned that you competed in the previous Canada Games in 2022. What lessons were you able to take from that experience that you can bring into this competition this year?
To honestly just be ready with anything. Canada Game is just a big competition, and the pressure was there. Just enjoy the pressure. Pressure's a privilege, I like to say, and my coaches like to say, that pressure makes diamonds. So let's go out there and make a diamond. I don't know. Just enjoy the moment and just go out and perform. I did everything I could to be at the best shape I am. So.
Well, I mean, you have produced quite a few diamonds recently, whether it's the Canadian records with your discus throws or it's personal best when it comes to shot put throws. What goes, how do you feel when you reflect back to the success that you've been able to have, whether it's setting personal best or setting national records in your competitions?
Feel gratitude, but I also feel some type of relief, because when I'll be honest, every athlete that's close to a big record like that, close to a big milestone, you know the record's within reach, you're chasing it. So for chasing that record for basically the summer, it felt good to finally get over that hump, because you can do it in practice, but practice doesn't count, right? So getting over that hump, felt great, and just taking that momentum to Canada Games is what I'm looking forward to. What
I find fascinating from you is that away from your athletic career, you're also in school for sports management at Brock University. Do you ever catch yourself analyzing your game or being hypercritical from a new perspective based on your studies and academia instead of just from the athlete side?
Oh, for sure. I found myself a couple times last year just doing a couple projects and then learning material. I'm like, wait, this no wonder, that event went like that, or what I can do or what can I expect, because you have both lenses, right? You have the lens of an athlete, you don't care about what's happening around you. You have one sole focus, you got tunnel vision. But as a sport management student or somebody in the sports field, sport industry, you think about everything that's going on, right? All the little pieces that came to producing that moment for us athletes to be able to perform. So yeah, for sure now I have a new appreciation and new lens to look through my game.
Obviously, you have goals within these games and you want to do well in this competition, but once the Canada Games are behind you, what's next for you? What are your goals as an athlete?
As an athlete, after Canada Games, I'm basically hopping into my para hockey season. And this year, I was able to be part of the next gen roster for Hockey Canada last season. So this season is nothing different, just trying to be part of that roster again, just trying to be part of that group. And then after, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's just trying to be consistent, be able to perform at my best, but also with nationals coming up next year, and then also hopefully work towards world championships in 2027. That's a goal that me and my coach, she threw it out there. It's a pretty big goal, I'll be honest, but we got 2 years, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. Goals are not worth setting unless they're lofty, right? So I think the having those major milestones and competitions in your future would be certainly something worth striving for. When it comes to the para ice hockey side of things, is there a sport you prefer? Like, is your passion with hockey, or are you using that during the downtime or the off season when it comes to shot put and discus?
Honestly, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I'd probably say hockey was my favorite sport. But now I feel like I have an equal love for both. I don't know. The more you get into it in athletics, the more it's different aspects, right? The same idea, speed, performance, power. I like that part of sports. But hockey, I've played that sport since I was a little guy. And being in Canada, that's nation sport. So I like hockey for its physical and fast aspects. Everybody's on a level playing field, that team bonding aspect. But track is just something else. It's completely different. You can't compare the two.
And lastly, for you, Rémi, apart from the competition itself, what are you most looking forward to during your time in St. John's?
What I'm looking forward to is basically meeting new people, talking to other para athletes, because we know in Canada, as you guys know too, there's so few, right? In the para sports, we're trying to develop that side of things. So just catching up, talking to the fellow para athletes that we have at the track, and just making memories with my teammates, right? 2022, I was kind of a shy kid, so this time around, just being myself and just having fun. That's the main priority.
Well, that's awesome. Rémi, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck in the competition.
No worries. Thank you so much.
That was my conversation with Rémi. We got one more shot put and discus athlete coming your way. This time it is with Addisyn Franceschini. Addisyn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, how has St. John's been treating you so far? I know you just got there, but what are the initial vibes down on the ground?
It's definitely very exciting. There's lots of people, lots of different sports. So getting to meet people from all over the country and all the other sports, and just making a bigger friend group type of situation is just great. And everyone's really nice here. I've met lots of people. Everyone's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Very exciting.
That's awesome. Now, this is your first Canada Games kind of opportunity, but can you talk a bit about what it means for you to be able to represent Team Ontario, your home province, as part of this big competition on Canadian soil? That's got to be pretty exciting when you're surrounded by all these other great athletes representing your province as well.
Yeah, it's such an honor, and it's a great experience. I'm very grateful I get to be here. It's not every day you get to just travel across the country and represent your home province. So it's very exciting, and I'm very excited to see where this takes me and all the amazing faces I get to meet this week.
You're going to be competing in both discus and shot put. How are you feeling about those competitions, and when you're preparing to compete in those two different disciplines, does your focus change or your preparation change in between shot put or discus, or do you treat them both the same?
Warm-up is basically the same, just like zoning in, stretching, all that stuff. Definitely two different mindsets for me. I find discus is a bit less chaotic for me. Shot put, where I'm more technical wise, thinking about a lot more. So there's definitely more to think about, and I need to process that. Other than that, it's basically the same kind of process for me. But yeah.
No, that's great. And I mean, you've already had success when it comes to discus, because you recently broke the women's F64 discus record. Take us through that moment when you saw that disc flying and you saw the distance at the end. What was going through your mind?
I was definitely very excited. This year, I haven't done discus as much until recently. I did it last year more just with school. but definitely seeing I was able to get those meters up and keep building that is definitely exciting. It's a big factor to helping me relax and think like, okay, I can do this. It's very rewarding in a way.
No, and it's really tremendous to see. It's like in such a short time that you've been able to ascend and have this kind of success in this sport. Like, what are your goals when it comes to sport, whether it's even at this competition or post Canada Games? Like, where do you want to go within these sports?
I mean, everyone's dream definitely to make the Paralympic team for Team Canada. That's a big one, but also just helping make a change in para sport, because it's not very known out there for a bunch of para athletes. I know it was just introduced to me last year, thanks to my coach, so wouldn't be here without him. It's definitely, I'd love to get out there and maybe show the world, help show the world what it's all about, and definitely just be a role model for younger athletes, because for me, I was the first F64 discus and shot thrower for Canada. So, you know, I'm sure there's many more out there looking for it. So it'd be nice to just kind of show that off for the rest of the country, and hopefully some more kids would show up and try out and all that.
You had the opportunity already to compete at the World Para-Athletics Grand Prix. How does that experience help prepare you for what you're going into here with the Canada Games?
It's honestly just like getting that, traveling internationally without like family, going with people you haven't met before, and kind of just hoping for the best. And everyone's really nice all the time. I've learned that like there's nothing to be worried about in the social aspect. It's definitely just helped prepare me, and especially competing in big competitions. I've only really competed within the province for like school meets kind of thing. So just getting out internationally and competing in that kind of environment was a great experience, and definitely is going to help me in the long run.
Lastly, for you, Addisyn, after the games, what's next for you?
I'm going to India for the World's Championships for para. That's very exciting for Team Canada. It's a big accomplishment. It's pretty exciting. It's a very fast-moving year for me, but I'm excited to see where it brings me.
Well, Addisyn, best of luck not only in the Canada Games competition, but as you continue to leave your mark on the World Para-Athletics Grand Prix circuit. We'll definitely have to follow your journey and catch up with you down the road.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I'm excited, looking forward to hearing back from you guys in the future.
That was my conversation with Addisyn. We have one more tape to go to. This time it's on the track. We're going speed with wheelchair racer Ty Young. Ty, thanks for coming on Parasport Nation.
Thanks for having me.
So, first off, you already have been off to a pretty decent start here at the games. You've come away with a bronze medal in the 1500 meter. How do you feel after that race?
This race was a very intense race. The weather was so unpredictable, and the wind and the rain. We were up against all of the elements, and I am genuinely so happy for Gavin, who pulled the gold in that. He powered through, and he like such a champ in that. It wasn't my best race, but it was definitely something that I'm going to learn a lot from, and how to handle different weather conditions.
Yeah, and it's always those elements that are out of your control, right? You know, you have to, at least everyone in the race is dealing with those elements just like you are. So at least there is that balance on the field of play for that. But how has the experience, other than obviously than coming away with a medal early on, but how has the experience in St. John been for you so far?
It's been beautiful. I love looking at the landscape, the scenery while we were driving in. It was just so gorgeous. I've never been out here before, so having the opportunity to just come out here in the first place was pretty amazing. And of course, meeting people from across Canada is just so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I've had a chance to go out to St. John's once and absolutely loved it. It's so beautiful. And unfortunately, the one issue is the unpredictability of weather, which you've already had to come across. But now, in terms of the Canada Games themselves, because this isn't your first time competing, you also had a chance to compete in Niagara back in 2022. How have the two competitions stacked up so far for you? Like, are there similarities? Are there differences? Like, take us through that comparison.
For sure. I think the biggest difference is obviously Niagara was back at home, so it was a lot easier for us to go back and forth. We still were in residences, but it was a lot easier to just kind of make that transfer over rather than having to deal with travel days, traveling my wheelchair, which is such a difficult task because we have to bubble wrap everything, move all of that. So I think getting situated has been the biggest difference, but also being so far from home allows you to really focus in on the sport and really say, okay, I'm here to compete, I'm here to have fun and do all of that, but it really gets you into the mindset. And also when I had my first Canada Games, I was pretty new to the sport. So I think that was a newer kind of, like everything was new. I was still figuring out how I'm going to race and what I'm going to do. And I think this Games, I've learned a lot more on the tactical side, on how to approach races differently based on each race rather than just figuring out how to race.
Well, and it's also the results have started to pile up for you because at the 2025 Athletics Canada National Championships, you came away with a gold, silver, and bronze. So, like, how have you been able to continue to build momentum from that competition into this one where you've already medaled and hopefully continue to medal as the games go on?
I think being able to get rest was really important because the last nationals was super, super busy. And, I really put in a lot of that to get my training up and get prepared for the games. So I think being able to find time to have rest, have balance, and kind of reset has been important. I know after the travel day, I was just so exhausted. So I tried to spend as much of the day as I could completely resting and just kind of preparing so that I knew when it's time to go, it's time to go. And I can put all my energy into that race because I feel like all of the work that I have done for this competition has been done. I can't necessarily build up too much now. So now it's just about priming and getting set for the actual races.
Is there one of the races, whether it's the 100, 200, or the 1500, that you really, you feel you excel in or you prefer or you get more excited to compete in?
Definitely the 15. The 1500 is my favorite race. That's the one that I was able to get gold in the nationals. And I like a distance. Obviously, again, the wind, maybe that changes things, but generally on a nice, beautiful day of 15 is my favorite.
Nice. And so what about your kit? Because this is something that I've spoken to wheelchair racers about in the past, and sometimes they get very particular about whether things down to from the type of gear they're using down to the tire pressure and the PSI amount that they're making sure that their wheels have. How particular are you when it comes to your race equipment and your race gear and setup?
I wouldn't say I am the most particular with it. I think tire pressure is an ever-changing subject. Like everyone has a different kind of opinion on it. I find with my 15, pumping it up higher is a lot better. And then sometimes with my shorter races, pumping them or having lower pressure is a little bit better. So it really is so specific, but I'm still, I think, figuring out what is best for me in terms of that. But definitely when it comes to setting the compensator, which is our steering mechanism, I have to definitely tinker with that a lot before a race because I feel like that is where you can really quickly go wrong in a sprint such as the 400, because once you're going around those two bends, going through the first corner can be different than going down through the back corner because you're coming in at such a fast speed compared to the first corner that it changes how you steer. So having to be able to set it while you're at that high speed can be a little bit difficult. But if you can get it right, it's like the perfect way to excel in a race.
No, that's fantastic. I always love that kind of inside kind of strategy during the race and stuff, and then pulling the curtain back a little bit. I always love just learning a bit more about the ins and outs and the nuances of the sport. So thank you for sharing that. From away from like the competition itself and in the races, are there any kind of experiences or things you're hoping to get out of your time in St. John's? Obviously, you're focused on the races, but I know like Sunday, for instance, there's a down day that there's not any competition happening. Like, what are you hoping to do or experience when you're out in St. John's?
I think I would just love to see more sightseeing, be able to go out, look around. It's obviously such a beautiful place, but we're so like local on the campus, so it's not the most convenient to be able to travel around. But my parents were able to come down and support me, which was amazing. So I think I'm going to go spend a day with them and take a look at some of the sites out here. And then also in terms of the games, I am an avid pin collector. So I think that is something that I am very much participating in.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And lastly for you, Ty, after these games are wrapped, like what goals or what's next for you as an athlete? Are you hoping to kind of continue to build on your success? Are you looking to kind of transition more to school? Like, do you have hopes to get to the Paralympics? What goals do you have in mind once these games are done?
I think my first goal would be to get more into my strength and conditioning training, just because I've done a lot of race training and race prep, but my strength and conditioning has been a little bit difficult to figure out since I live downtown Toronto. So it's been a challenging one to come back and forth between Markham and Toronto, where my trainer is, with managing school and also filming stuff because I work in media. So everything is just very, very busy. But I think that with time, I'm hoping to just build up my general fitness and overall fitness, and then eventually go, I don't want to say go back, but then like, you know, pivot back into racing next summer once I finish school, and then be able to like keep working at it. I don't really know if I have a long-term goal in mind right now, just because there's so many amazing avenues that I think are coming up. But as of right now, like, these games are the games that I wanna fight in.
That makes total sense. Well, best of luck, Ty, as you have a few more races ahead of you, and hopefully there's more podium finishes for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that was my conversation with Ty Young from St. John's, Newfoundland during the Canada Summer Games. Kelly, 4 remarkable young athletes at different stages in their career. I mean, you have someone like Christel who's kind of competing in her 5th and final games. You got other athletes like Addisyn going to their first one, new to parasport in general. Where did you want to take this conversation and reflection? Wow. What stood out to you?
Well, what really stood out, first of all, is congratulations to Addisyn. I mean, discus and world record, that's just tremendous at a young age, but mostly less experienced than so many other peers that Addisyn is competing with. So Fedora's off there. I really love what Christel has achieved in 20 years doing this, because you need that seasoned person to speak, but you also know, hey, throwing it, and I did throwing when I was years ago when I was training in school to see if I could make the games for any track and field. High jump was my other big sport, but I really wanted to excel in shot put. Didn't happen. It takes a lot, and I'm sure a little hard on the body to ramp yourself back up for training. So to these guys, to me, really tremendous efforts. What I really enjoyed with the younger people is the community. We heard that mentioned a couple of times in these interviews, the getting to talk to other people. I know that training can be in a bubble, regardless of who you are as an athlete in any capacity, but I have to wonder about how it is and how you feel more as a para-athlete doing this and running into other people who share the like-mindedness, the same experiences. I really took to that and hear the importance. It's always nice to have the mentor like Christel, but it's also wonderful to talk to your peer, the person maybe younger than you, that other person, and say, what's your training like? Wow, it's nice to meet you. These folks don't travel all the time. What an experience, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for some of them, it's their first chance to see a multi-sport event, to see other athletes from across the country that look and compete like them on this kind of stage and scale. And that was kind of the overwhelming kind of message I got from the athletes I had a chance to interview. It's the fact that, they're so excited and privileged to be there to represent their provinces, but also just to see the strength of the parasport movement. Yeah, absolutely.
Just
absolutely.
learning.
And unfortunately, Kelly, what we got to do is wrap up this show, because what we don't have is time left on the clock. Thank you so much for hanging around with me and co-hosting this show. We'll catch you next time. And for folks at home, thanks for watching and listening. We'll catch you again.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.